Hello there, it's Tim, Golf 5 Tango Mike. Great, isn't it, that we've had so many new operators into the hobby in the last few months through lockdown. Thing is though, how can we keep them in the hobby? Hey there, thanks for joining me again, whether you're new to the channel or you're a returning regular. Great to have you on board, and if you haven't yet clicked subscribe, it'd be great to have you doing so, thank you. And the notification bell for any future videos. So, well, it's been a tumultuous few months for the hobby, hasn't it? We've had people join us from having done the online exams and things, which has been one of the happy byproducts of the COVID virus, of course, and the lockdown situation. And hats off, to be fair, to the RSGB for doing this and arranging these online exams to take place, and waiving temporarily the practicals for foundation, and now, of course, allowing intermediates to do the online exams and actually scrapping the practicals, I think, from intermediate as well. One of the things I've noticed, I'm a member of the RSGB, okay? I'm certainly not a spokesperson for them by any means, but I'm a member. I pay my, is it 50 quid a year? And because of that, you get the Radcom magazine. And this isn't an advert for Radcom, by the way, either, okay? Just telling you how it is. Now, you've noticed about, in this case, September's had just come through the letterbox, and 10 pages in, you've got a list of stations who have joined the RSGB in the last month, I think, since the last edition. You've also got people who have been in the Society RSGB for years. One chap's been in for 70 years. Well, brilliant. And then you've got people who have returned. Now, if you look at this page, okay, the middle one here is the list of all those who have joined the RSGB in the last month. And I've counted 93 M7 or MM7s or MI, MU, MW7s, basically 93 operators from the British Isles who are new operators, I presume. Some of these may not be completely brand new, but the majority will be, who have joined in the last month. And that compares with, I think, a figure I looked at, the May one, which had 15. So clearly there's been a huge resurgence in new operators, which is fantastic. A great thing to happen. Thing is, that's only half the battle. These guys have got their license. Now then, what we need to do now is to help them to become happy, confident, proficient, and give them the motivation to want to actually operate. Because it's one thing having these guys get the license. Of course, it's absolutely imperative that they actually take part and keep the airwaves actually buzzing. Now, the RSGB are doing their bit, to be fair. They've got a scheme called Beyond Exams, where people can register, log in, and do some sort of training stuff, really, to get them proficient in certain parts of the hobby. There's a variety of things they can look at. So I'd urge you, if you've got your Mike 7 call fairly recently, that's something for you to look at. So look at RSGB Beyond Exams. There's also something called Radcom Basics, which is aimed, I think, for those who are fairly new into the hobby, but it's probably very good for everybody to read, to be honest with you. It gives everybody a bit of a refresher. So again, that's something to look at as well. So Radcom Basics and RSGB Beyond Exams are a couple of things that you might want to check out, just to help you in settling into a hobby, because it's like driving a car. You've passed your test, but we all know, those of us who drive, that you don't really learn to drive properly until you're out on the open road by yourself, when you deal with situations. No different in any other situation, no different in a hobby like this. So really, the learning for many people, having got their license, really starts now. And of course, it's a two-way thing. The onus to learn can come, or has to come a little bit from the newly licensed operator, the new Mike 7 operator. It also has to come a little bit from us. Now, I've only been licensed 3 years myself, so I've only gone through all this recently myself. But I think it doesn't matter whether you've been licensed 3 years, 30 years, or 70 years. I think it's still important that you are there, I think anyway, to help these new guys along and new girls along, because they need the help. Some people will need to know fairly basic things, stuff that we didn't know ourselves when we first came into the hobby, by the way. We weren't born with this knowledge, but it's stuff that people will need to know about, okay? So the first thing is, you'll probably find on social media that people will post up questions. And these can be very basic questions, okay? Questions to do with antennas, questions to do with feed lines, questions to do with radio choice, questions to do with where are things on what frequency. And you do see these responses from some people, not many, a bit like a video I did a few weeks ago about what, 90% of people, 99% of people on the air are going to be very helpful to new people. There's going to be like 1% of idiots, really. You'll get that on social media. Maybe it's probably a higher proportion on social media because that's where they lurk, okay? The trolls. So you get people say, well, that should have been in your training. And, well, if you look at your band plan, you'll know what's happening on that frequency. Rather than just saying, well, actually, it's on the band plan. Let's look at this together. Look, it's actually between this and this frequency you can go on phone. And FT8 is down here. So hope that gets you started. And I'll put a link on here for the band plan for you. Good luck. That's all you need to say. So it's about how you deal with these questions, how you actually encourage people. Because some people have more resilience than others. And what we don't want to be doing now is putting these guys off, And believe me, it's the same people who sneer, the tiny minority, by the way, who sneer, will be the same ones who remark a year later, well, none of these people are on air. We've got to be able to play the game a bit as well and help these guys through. Again, on social media, where a lot of these questions are asked, if you see somebody who's perhaps saying, I've got my Mike 7 call, I'm here in this location, they tell you what town or village they're in. I've got 2 meters. I'd love to have a quick chat with somebody just to see if my equipment works. Or they're saying I'm just newly licensed. I'm in this particular village, and they're just putting it out there. But it doesn't take much for someone to actually type back and say, do you know what? Let's arrange a sched. I'm available this time, or whenever you tell me when you're available. I'll call out for you on 145 500, that's the 2 meter calling frequency, and we can QSY, then we can have a quick chat, make sure your equipment's working, and run a few things by me if you want to, And then if you, for example, then are a part of a regular little group that meets on a particular night, or maybe even every night on the frequency, bring them in to say hello, get them introduced to other people in the area. They may not stick with you, but it gets them running, gets them up and running, it gets their confidence going, they're picking up the microphone, they're speaking to people. They may well become a friend. They may well become part of your group. They may well dip in and out. But there'll be another acquaintance for you to speak to. It's another voice on the air. And it gets them started and gets their confidence up. Now, clubs aren't meeting at the moment. But if you're a member of a local club, right, at some point in the future, probably, these clubs are going to meet again, aren't they? I guess your club will reconvene at some point. So between now and then, tell them, look, there's actually we're part of a club. We meet on, say, Wednesday at 7 o'clock for a couple of hours. Look, you can come along and say hello. This is the details of where we are. Give them a link maybe to the website or something like that. You can do this online. You can do it on voice. Depends how you speak to them. You could be on air with them telling them this, or you could be doing it on social media. And then keep in touch with them. Say, oh, okay, how's it going? And by the way, let me know if you need any further assistance. And then maybe in a week or two's time, if you hear them on air, say, oh, hi, how's it going? And, keep them warm. Keep them interested. Keep these guys, make these guys feel that they're now part of a community, yeah? And that they can come along and join your club, all right? Because, by the way, for the clubs, this is very important now for you. You've got to be welcoming to these guys. This is the golden opportunity for clubs to welcome these new M7s in and increase your membership, but also to increase activity in your area, okay? It's a golden opportunity. This may not happen again, We don't want something like this to happen again worldwide, but for our hobby, this opportunity may not happen again. So you've got to embrace it. But actually, apart from that aspect, the club aspect, I think it's a good thing to do anyway, is to engage with people who have just qualified in your hobby and to get them, to make them feel welcome. That's the key thing, to make them feel welcome and to get their confidence levels up. Social media. So if you are somebody who's recently passed your M7, I think if you go onto Facebook and search for Mike 7 or newly passed foundation license holders or Mike 7 foundation license, just search for groups like that, and there are 1 or 2 floating about there. Also, so there's some very good groups as well out there that you can join. And again, don't be put off if you encounter the odd idiot, all right? You'll always get one. Just block them and let them go. But overall, you'll find that 99.9% of people are very welcoming and very willing to help you. So there you go. I mean, there's a few things that we can do to help the new guys and girls coming into the hobby. As I said, I think it's a golden opportunity, and I think we need to embrace it. It's all right having people pass, but we need them to get them on the air. Now, a lot of people I know are going on to things like FT8 rather than voice, and that's absolutely fine, because of their situation. Maybe they are very mic shy. Maybe because they want to embrace the digital communications. Maybe they've got a very compromised setup at home for HF, and FT8 is the only way they can get out and make contacts. Brilliant, that's not a problem at all. And that's fine. People can still reach out to these people and get them into the hobby and get them into your club and get them involved. But I think for those who are looking to go on to voice, that's probably where the biggest danger is going to be in terms of people dropping out of the hobby. And I think we need to encourage those people to engage with us a bit more and to be welcoming ourselves, whether it's in a club situation or on air as individual operators. You know, make these new guys feel inclusive, make them feel welcome into the hobby. And I think that will make a big difference. Anyway, that's my little 2 penneth worth on that. Thanks for watching. If you've got any ideas or comments, please put them below. I'd be interested to hear what you think. What's your club doing for new M7 operators? What do you think you can do? Is there anything that we can do, maybe that I haven't mentioned? Could we do something like a bit of an event on the air? You know, maybe get a few people up on hills dotted around and get something going on 2 meters or something one evening. There's stuff we can do, I'm sure. But I think we just need to put our heads together maybe and think of things. Think of ways in which we can ensure that these guys, once they get licensed, don't drop away. That would be such a waste, and a bit of a crime really, to be honest, given the massive opportunity that we currently have in front of us in terms of getting numbers into the hobby and getting people into the hobby who genuinely have not had the opportunity to get into it before. 73, thanks for watching. This is Tim G5TM, and if you are a brand new operator, I hope to hear you on the air soon. Bye bye.